There we go. Good morning, world. Hope you all amazing, and good morning, Simone.
Well, it's not just good morning for me. It's actually late afternoon. This is around the world. So we need to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good middle of the morning, whatever it is for you.
Well, yeah, we have one of our amazing questionnaires that are coming on today. It's 3 o'clock in the morning for them, so we've got
Damn,
some gangsters around.
we
Um,
do.
so just to let you all know who's watching, this is I think now the fourth around the world that we're doing, which is really really exciting. Um, so the amazing Simone Molasses has written this incredible book called The Joy of Business. Um, and from that, a whole universe exactly is unraveling itself in a different way and a different possibility of not only doing business, but what I'm starting to notice more and more working with you, Simone, is actually how to be in business, which is a total different reality. Um, so, again, welcome. And yeah, is there our topic today? Actually, I just wanted to look at is the creation of possibilities in the world. And it's really interesting because I think, not many people, I would say, that I've engaged with get to really see the impact that a business can be in the world. So I was wondering if you can unpack that just a little bit.
Yeah, well, the first part that you mentioned, I would like to talk about because creation of business around the world. I recently did a class in Prague in Czech Republic, and it was during the Global Foundation. And I know it's on our YouTube channel, so I'm sure someone's going to grab it and put it in the thread, or you can find it on my YouTube channel. Okay. But what I spoke about and what I would love to empower everybody with is to get that if you actually like wake up in the morning and stop looking at what you are not good at and start acknowledging what you are great at and start like not people go, oh, I don't have any money. Do you have $10? If you have $10, acknowledge the $10. What did you do? Oh, I didn't get anything done today. Did you speak to one person? Yeah, okay, acknowledge that. And people always seem to go to, what's bad, terrible, awful. What are the judgments that I have of myself rather than what is the greatness of me? And I personally get that every single time we have, gosh, that's a really interesting little and there. Yeah. So what I want you to do is just write that down, right? You all got that. You got that thing. Yeah.
And there's a test at the end of this if
The
you
link
get it.
I was watch/v. This is a coding lesson, right? So anyway, you'll find it. And the point is though, is what if you woke up and you started to choose what works for you? Okay. And a lot of people go to, oh, that's choosing against. It's not. It's like start to choose what actually works for you and your capacities. You are way more brilliant than you think you are. For me, that's how we start to create all of these amazing businesses around the world. Like, what brings you joy? Now, I'm not going to say passion because I actually don't want to say passion, because if you look up the meaning of the word passion before 1937 literally means to be, Christ on a cross and dying. Okay. So
Mhm.
if you want to have your passion and be on a cross and dying and suffering and oh my goodness and being the victim and this business and da da da, that whole thing, then go for it. Have a passion. What I'm going to ask is, what is your capacity? And when you have that capacity and you embrace that capacity and you be you, that's the creation of business across the world, because creation is from your choices. Okay. People go, oh, I want to create money, or I want to create this. No, you choose. You choose, you choose, you choose. So, what are you going to choose today? What are you going to choose today? Don't
Mm,
worry about what you chose yesterday. What are you going to choose today?
mm. One thing I've noticed that you mention often is that one of your like core sort of ways of being with yourself is that today you want to be greater than you were yesterday.
Mhm.
And I think that's such a strong tool because it kind of references in terms of where we really have been educated in a sense to look at the worst case scenario. But when you can like switch yourself into, okay, how can I be greater today? What is that one choice that will just step me up, that one moment. It's a great way to look at how to be different in business.
Yeah, and you did say something there though that I would like to address is a lot of the times if I look at a project or a business or something different that we're choosing, I will ask the question, what's the worst possible thing that could show up? Because if you look at what's the worst possible thing that could show up, and it's like, okay, am I prepared for that? Could I handle that? Etc. And it's like, okay, if I can, then, and if it still has this lightness in your world and this sense of joy, then go for it. Like so many people make their choices about money. I know I'm delusional, but I would so like to see people, stop making every single choice they make about money and use it as a tool. Like throughout your day, go, okay, how many times do you say no to yourself because of money? What if instead you use that as a motivation because you are the source of creation? Money's not the source of creation. Money's just money. And you went, okay, I'd like to choose that. All right. And you hear yourself going, oh, I don't have the money. Stop. Okay. Stop. And it's like, okay, so now what? Now what could I choose? What could I actualize? What question could I ask? What can I be? Who can I talk to? Like who can I engage with? And start being in question for something different to show up. Because as soon as you it's sort of almost like change, like you're looking straight ahead, right? So wherever you're looking at now, and it's like, even just now, it's like, look slightly to the left. Yep, don't look at me. Look slightly to the left. And it's like, you've just got a different perspective. Now look slightly to the right. You have another perspective, okay? And it's like, so if you keep changing your point of view and being in question, you'll have this different perspective. And it doesn't have to be this like fireworks and like, what sort of energy. It's just like, it could just be a little change.
Love that. The small changes that can make such a big difference over and over and over again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. There's a Dane here has like a reel coming, like it's out, and it's talking about all those little choices that you make and where it gets you to life. And so we did one on my Instagram as well. And it's just so interesting to look at your life. And even if you come up with 5 things that you go, yeah, that created a change. That choice created a change. That choice created a change. Yeah, to acknowledge it.
Yeah, and start celebrating yourself would be a much nicer space to be in the world.
Celebration time. Come on. Exactly.
All right, well, let's celebrate around the world and bring on our first guest, which is Ileana from Mexico. Hello.
Hello. The crowd goes, wow, there's a Mexican wave. Sorry, but I have to do that.
I love it.
Very cliche.
That's so cool. Well, hello.
Hello.
So I was noticing how in Mexico, and I kind of want to say also probably a lot of places in Latin America, it's kind of like men are the ones that do like big business, like the ones that wear the suit, the ones that have like very like big roles in big businesses. So I was wondering if you can share a tool with us, like how can we create this business and change in the world beyond gender?
That's a really good question, Ileana, and it's not something that you can like have this answer to or this one tool. It's funny, I was just listening to this podcast driving home, and it's the guy, I can't remember his name, but it's the Diary of a CEO. And I'm so sorry, I cannot remember the guy's name, but he's talking about masculine and female energy and how we be. And he talks about the history and how, women's lib was probably one of the best things that came along for women, right? It's like we had these rights to choose things, but then we've reached this, we're living in this stage now where men have no idea how to be like, do they open the door? Do they, pour a glass of wine? Do they put a jacket on for a woman? Do they walk on the curb side of the street, to protect the woman? Like all of this information. And he was saying it was really cool. And I'll find it. And I don't know where we'll put it, Graham, but you'll come up with something. I'll find the link and I'll put it on there because I think this is a conversation we need to keep having. And what he was saying is, okay, women now have more rights and men sort of got a little lost. And it's like, but men men like to protect. They like to look after. Like, you know, he was talking about the simple thing of a man, you know, in an airplane, like helping a woman get the bag off the top. And he goes, you're literally, most men are taller than women, okay? And it's a generalization, but most of them are. Why would you not help a woman get her bag, you know? And he goes, most men are so scared to sort of, because they'll go, well, do you think I'm weak? And he said, I can pretty much guarantee you that's not going to happen. But we're now in this place where people don't know what to be. And he said, what if we created this place where, you know, there's a meeting, there's a boardroom meeting, etc., and the CEO is a woman, right? And then a man is the secretary, and he walks in, but he opens the door for the woman because she's a woman, so she can come in and go out. But he's quite happy to be working for a woman as his boss, and she's quite happy to have the door open because there's this male-female energy, and yet it's not relevant about who is quote unquote the boss. It's the person who's doing who is best for that job at that time. So, Ileana, I think if we come out of the projections and expectations and the judgments of what it should be, and this fight, because I see a lot of people start to fight this, and we are not going to get anywhere from conflict. We just don't. Like, people think they get somewhere from conflict, but we don't. But what if we embraced like who we be? And so I think for men, it's like embracing the women in their lives, whether it's their partners, their daughters, their friends, you know, whatever it is, and empowering them and saying, hey, you got this. You can be CEO. You can, you know, get out there and do XYZ sort of thing. And then I think the women need to actually invite the men to go, thank you so much for being a gentleman. Thank you for protecting me. Thank you for looking after me. You know, that's the world I would like to live in. And I know it's a really crazy time at the moment because of all the, you know, I think gender equality is sort of like, what happened? Like, you know, be all you can be. And so I'm going to leave it at that. And I will give you the name of this podcast because I'm only halfway through it. But I think this guy is addressing this in a really cool way, not from fight, not from resistance, but we need to keep having this conversation and we need to keep empowering each other for what we desire.
Yeah, totally. Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. And I love the, like, just to touch on that a little bit, it's like, yeah, what if we could have these conversations without it having to be about who's right, who's wrong? You know, like, what if it's just like, hey, how could we be greater today than we were yesterday?
Yeah. And so I know that you've heard me say this because I've used it with I'm trying to look on my Spotify because it's on the, anyway, I'll find it. Well, I'm learning it. I've been learning Italian for, I think, forever. And, but the one thing I go to is because I haven't practiced in ages, but then I was in Italy. So then you do practice because you're just asking for food or a drink or something like that, you know. But so anywhere that you're going to judgment, like going to judgment of your business or a project or anything, or you've got your beautiful artwork behind you, you know, Ileana, if you go, oh, I haven't done anything with that, don't judge it. Go, yeah, but I'm more today than I was yesterday. Like I know more Italian today than I knew yesterday. And I'm like leaving it at that. Whether I ever speak fluent Italian or not, we are yet to see. It's as I learn more, I'm like, oh my God, this language is incredible. So I'm not so sure I will, but we'll see. We'll see. You know, it's like, let's keep going. Let's keep moving forward. And I think with every area of your life, not just business, lean into it. Like lean into the possibility. You have no idea what this is going to look like, but lean into it and go, you know what? I'm up for the adventure. Let's go.
Yeah. And you got the hand gesture in Italian. You already learned
Oh, I
it.
know.
We're all the way through.
I had that even before, but yeah, even more so.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you.
Oh, Madonna.
Alrighty, and so we jump across the world to Italy, and we have Chiara.
Okay, and I found this. Okay, it's called. But I'm such a. How do I do this? I do copy episode link. I'm going to send it to you, Graham.
Cool.
Because I just found it. Okay, I'm so good. And so we have Chiara.
Yay.
Ciao, Simone.
Ciao! Come stai?
Molto bene.
Una favola. That's one of my favorite things. That una favola means like you're living the fairy tale.
And
I
you
love
got
it.
the end gestures, so everything will flow from there for sure. So go for it.
Can I say, we hired a car in Sardinia, all right?
Mhm.
A BMW with its own little, screen or whatever. And because you're driving on the left-hand side, and my friend is like chatting in Italian, as one does with his hands. But they've got this thing on there that if you go like this, if you put your thumb out, it moves the song the other way. And if you go the other way, it moves the song the other way. So he's just talking the whole time, and the songs are just going brum, 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 brum. And I was like, will you stop talking with your head? And he goes, I don't know how to talk to you if I'm not using my hands. And I was like, use your left hand. I was like, that's like cruel to create a gimmick like that for Italians. That's a level of cruelty I have not yet seen.
I love that. That's so good.
Oh my God.
It was
Must have
funny
been a
until it wasn't. You're like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so I got one question that is very, like, culturally in Italy, we're not very encouraged to have many businesses. Well, A, because it kind of steals family time, having more than one business. And also because the underlying idea we've been growing up with is to put all your eggs in a basket. And that's a way of committing to excellence, like committing to something and reaching excellence. So actually my question is, what question and ideas could help, like, pull apart this monogamy of commitment, and like access more possibilities?
Yeah. So seeing as you used the word commitment a few times, I would say ask yourself the question, who or what are you committed to? And I mean, I know Italy has this in their culture, and every culture has something, something, right? That sort of locks them up. But that something is more or less like pulling you into, Chiara, you have to be normal. 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 So it's like because in Italy it's family is so important. And it's I mean, I remember on Saturday we were in Sardinia, and Saturday the lawnmower started, and my friend was like, wait for it, they're all going to start hammering and doing everything on a Saturday, and I was like, what happens on a Sunday? He's like, cooking. The woman's probably
time.
cleaning the house on a Saturday, and but here's the thing, what if you could find the beauty in what is, but you don't make it a necessity, you have it as a choice? So what part of that do you actually enjoy? Because you have a really beautiful family too, Chiara, with your kids and your partner. And it's like, so I see that you enjoy that, right? So instead of, looking at the necessity of what is, go, okay, what part of this am I choosing that I'm actually really enjoying, and embrace that? And then who or what am I committed to? Because it's going to take everyone, like, it's again like that male female conversation we just had. It's not about fighting it. It's not about going to conflict. But what if you start to choose something different? Like, you have to look at what works for you, like the multiple, revenue streams. That's not like common in a lot of areas either. People think you're crazy because you can't, put all your time and energy into one business. Well, there's multiple ways to deal with that. Like, there is some fabulous people around the world that you can employ that actually, navigate and drive one of the businesses whilst you're working over here. But that's not considered normal. If you start the business, you're meant to be this owner operator sort of energy. What if you didn't have to be the owner operator? What if you were like this helicopter that, flies above and is aware of everything, but you don't have to do it like everybody else does it. But it's not
crazy
against it. Yeah. What's that?
I was looking at how crazy it is that all projects, like even just family and business, and it's funny because we associate business with something that is profitable, and family not necessarily. Like, the profit is not in the computation. But I really look at how much they each nurture one another in many different ways that are not linear. But even you taking a walk is just like nurturing you at the desk in the next 45 minutes. So thank you for the question. What are you committed to? Yeah,
there's also a probability in the people you surround yourself by. Like, who do you surround yourself by? Whether it's friends or family, etc. for me, that's a profitability too, that you get to have that in your world. Like, wow, how cool is that you get to have these amazing people in your world? I mean, I just spent 2 months in Europe, and I am so grateful for everyone that I got to see and hang out with, and all the places I got to go to, and then I come to Australia, and it was cold and wet, but that's a whole other story. But then I have what I have here, and it's like, again, like what I said right at the beginning of this live is, what if we started to look at the gratitude that we have for what we have chosen? And then what part of that would we like to change?
Well, what also is interesting, when you were talking about family, it's like, I wonder if you sat down once a week and just for 10 minutes looked at everyone in your family as their own business. And they were like, okay, you're a business, you're a business, you're a business. How do we get this to work different? I wonder if that could create something different as well.
Totally.
That's way too much time for me to spend on my family. but it actually is. Like, for me, I would rather look at the amazing people I have in my life that I do spend a lot of time, like, maybe talking to or contributing to, etc. So it's like, because I wouldn't make family significant. It's not. It's like, if you have a good family, good on you. That's amazing. But not everybody does. It's like, I have amazing people. I mean, like, if I can see all these translators here as well. Like, you guys can't see behind the scene, or people actually waiting to ask questions, etc. These people are more important to me than my actual family. There's a couple of people in my family that I dig, and they're really cool, but the majority of them, no. So, and that's not wrong. It's like, there's a lot of people out there who don't have a great family, or don't have this, supportive energy like a lot of Italians do, because they do. It's incredible.
Family, just a choice. We're waiting for that class.
I like that. Family, just a choice. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're
Thank
so
you.
How does it get better? All right.
Yeah.
And now we go to a very interesting country, Russia, and Sergey.
Hello, Simone. Hello, Graham.
Hey, Sergey. Dobro utro.
Yeah, it is.
Is it morning?
Yes, it is morning.
Okay.
Yes, and good afternoon to you. Yeah. So, what question I was having is, what would be your nuts and bolts, maybe advice or approach that you would have in opening new project, launching new business, service, or product, because the situation we're having, the evil Russia has been sanctioned the most amongst all the countries in the world. We have maybe more than 8,000 sanctions applied, and people start opening up new businesses. They find new ways of bringing in products. They call it the parallel imports. But if you would come up with an idea, you would see the possibility of opening up something. What would be your approach? What questions would you ask? What do you got to know before launching something? And what would you do?
Okay, so I don't get it's more so like, what have you got to know? It's like, what would you like to choose? And it's funny, I was just talking to the guy at the post office today who's South African, and because he took my photos for my Russian visa, and I've got to get a new passport, and we're talking about it, and we're talking about Russia and South Africa. I don't know how many sanctions South Africa had when they were sanctioned, but it was a hell of a lot as well. And he was talking about how different things that they created. And as you know, Sergey, I was just in Russia, and I was so impressed with the Russians. For starters, can I just put an announcement out there? I think Russians are some of the friendliest people in the world. When you first meet them, they might not be. They're like got this like this look. But as soon as you crack that, and it doesn't take much, like the concierge, everyone at the hotel, oh my God, they would do anything for you. Like, they are very friendly and very kind. And all of this stuff that's going on is not about the people. It's, as we all know, it's so much about politics and who's getting what, etc. And what I noticed is how much people still chose to live. So I think when you hit a really diverse period, like, like COVID was one, like there was so many people who sort of went, oh my God, COVID, our business is failing. We cannot do anything, and that's what they created. They created the failure of their business, and they created only being able to get, income from the government, which now they have to pay back and all this sort of stuff. But there was other businesses that I noticed that, like there was a local brewery, these three guys in Australia, and they started doing drive-through pickup. So you could drive through and pick up their local brewery that they made, the beer that they made. They never had that as a service before. And then they created that as a service. Everybody ended up knowing this brewery company, right? Because they used, like, for me, it's like, give yourself the space, relax, and go, okay, what is the situation in Russia right now? Okay. Now, in the face of that, what can I choose? What is it I would like to actualize? And, what else is possible with this? Like, I know, I don't know, about 2 years ago, 18 months ago, I don't know time, China pulled trade from Australia, and we were literally trading like 70% of our, items, whether it was our iron ore, our avocados, our lobster, whatever it is, we were trading, with China. We depended on them. Mid over there, I think it was hilarious in one instance. China said, no, not doing it anymore, basically. And so there's lobsters and avocados on their way over there. Literally on our news, I'm not kidding you. On the news, they were saying, pleading to Australians, will you please eat more avocados and lobsters? Because we have so many. It was hilarious. So all these restaurants would have deals on lobster, and you'd have all these beautiful avocados and all of that. But Australia had to go, shit, what are we going to do? We actually have to look elsewhere of who we can trade with, because we had become so dependent on China that we had to look elsewhere. And then China went to New Zealand and made some deals with New Zealand. It was almost like this schoolyard stuff, like, we're not dealing with you anymore, so we're going to deal with one of your friends over there, so maybe you'll create a conflict, etc. So we had to reach out and look, okay, who can we trade with? What part of the world would like what we have, So what if you started with that sort of question? What do you have? What part of the world would like what you have? What's possible? Like, you have the internet, you have all of this. And it's like, so what, like, even if you start to write down, what are 10 things that I have at my fingertips that I could choose? Okay. Can I use any of these to my advantage? Okay. What would that look like? Who would I have to speak to? How do I navigate this? And keep being in question every single day. I think the key element here, and this goes with all businesses, is do not kill the future possibilities by going into judgment. Because so many people go into judgment of, oh, this didn't work. It can't work. Oh, somebody tried that, and I saw them fail. No, this is every second of the day is different. Every nanosecond is different. So today is a new day. What can you choose with this new day? And relax with it. Like, really relax. Give yourself the space.
Yeah.
Okay. Show me, universe. What else is possible?
Yeah. Because what I loved about the book you wrote, and I was doing the audio book, and it was so fun reading it, recording it, and what the tool that I was probably using the most and what I loved and what helped me a lot is not coming to conclusion. Just whatever the situation is, whatever's going on. But if you don't come to the conclusion, you don't kill the future possibilities, as you've said. And that's an amazing tool to always have it with you. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even right now, what we can do is just like, and if you're listening to this and you don't know much about Access, there's a clearing statement that we use, and you can literally every day, 2 things: destroy and uncreate your relationship with your business. And when I say business, it could mean ideas, anything. Okay, everything that is right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 9 shorts, boys, provids, and beyond. And destroy and uncreate, all the future possibilities that you have destroyed by going to conclusion. And everything that is times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 9 shorts, boys, provids, and beyond. It's like ask, like right now, it's go 5 or 10 years into the future of what's actually possible, what is possible. for you with business revenue streams. Okay, 5 or 10 years, whatever, or it could be 8, 7, but go at least 5. Now, what I want you to ask is make a demand of yourself if you choose, because you cannot demand of anyone else, and request of the universe. And it's like, ask to pull that in. So if you're going 5 years in the future, ask to pull that into now. And everything it doesn't allow that to show up, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 9 shorts, boys, provids and beyonds. We so quickly go to judgment based on time. What if time wasn't real? What if time was a creation and we could pull all of those possibilities into now, into today?
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much. Thank
You're
you.
so welcome, Sergey.
Thank you, Sergey. Amazing.
I miss Russia. I love that place. It's so amazing.
It's a cool place. And just for anyone out there, like, you did a really nice short exercise on energy pulls, and you have an amazing, I think it's a 5-day series of business energy pulls in on your website. So hopefully we can get the link out there. And it's just, when you get stuck in your head, it's such a great tool to go to. And just to, like you were saying earlier, change that direction, pivot a few degrees. Energy pulls are such a good tool for that.
Yeah, I have 5 days of business and 5 days of money, and it's a small price, not much. But I also have one free one on money and one free one on business that's on my YouTube channel, so you can find those as well. So you can just get the energy of it, and then if you desire to go further into it, check out the shop. Yeah, great idea.
I listen to the free one almost every week. It's so good. Yeah.
Well, actually, Dane listened to the one on money a couple of months ago, and he was like, "It's really good."
It's really good. It's really, really good. Yeah. Lovely. Cool. So now we go to a whole different time zone, into Brazil. Mr. Fabio.
Oi, Fabio.
Oh, you're on
Fabio,
mute.
but you're on mute as well.
Oh, okay. Now I'm good. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, you've got such a sexy voice. It's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. It's very early and unusually cold in Brazil. You wouldn't
So
expect that.
is this your early morning voice? This is your good morning, Simone.
Yes, good morning, Simone. Exactly.
Love it.
Oh my goodness. How did you get so lucky to be here? So, my question to you, considering what has been going on in Brazil, how can we as a business and the awarenesses we have and all of that grow in times of uncertainty and where most people seem to be buying into recession and the whole not having money conversation?
So let me ask you a question first. When you say all the stuff that's going on in Brazil, do you mean politically, financially, or natural disasters? or all of the above and more?
I would say all of the above and more. People are creative,
Okay. So here's interesting too, because and I know a lot of people, they might not know what's happening in every country, but Brazil has gone through some really major natural disasters, and it's been quite, very full on with what's occurred. I know Houston at the moment is still without electricity and still without a whole bunch of things, like with what's going on with the hurricane that ripped through there. And I know it went through a whole other places, but I happen to know people in Houston. I remember a few years ago, we had these major fires, and then I've lived in floods. And it's very interesting when you are living and functioning in a natural disaster. For me, the one thing I notice is you go, what the fuck did I think I had a problem with? Because you realize I actually don't have a problem. And I've noticed even the camaraderie that starts to show up, like that energy of people going, hey, do you need something? Are you good? I've got your back. What can I do? What can I gift? In this, we function so much from this, what we call the give and take program. And the give and take program is so transactional. And it's very much, I would say, there's a lot of selfishness in it, and it's a lot of fight and a lot of conflict. And then I find when there's something that occurs around the world that that is something like this, a natural disaster, there's this gifting and receiving that shows up. Like I remember when we had the fires here in Australia, I didn't even think about it. I had hardly anything. I had like one dress and I had my toothbrush because I was like, I need my toothbrush. That's all I could think about. I was like, not my passport, not money. I was like, I want my toothbrush. So, and we ended up having this, we called it our evacuation house. And there were 7 of us who stayed in this evacuation house for like 3 or 4 days. And it was so interesting to see how we started interacting and engaging with each other and creating. And I see, like a lot of people I know in Brazil, I see that's occurred there. And I mean, it's such a beautiful moment where in a place of quote unquote loss, you get to gain something that is even greater than that, that is beyond, you know, the things, beyond the materialistic stuff. And you start to look at actually what's really relevant and what you think was relevant, but what's actually truly relevant to you. So I think there's an energy with that you need to embrace rather than again, I think nearly every country in the world could have some poor, pitiful me thing, you know, and there's a lot of stuff happening around the world. Man, sometimes you just don't want to turn on the news. I usually watch it on planes, to tell you the truth. And it's like, wow, there's so much stuff happening in the world. You've got, you know, recession. Australia is, like I said, I spent 2 months in Europe. There's a lot more sort of this joyful celebration energy. I get there in summer and it has that. And then I came to Australia and I was like, wow, this is Australians live in fear. It's, you know, we used to be known for our kangaroos and koalas. And I think now we're probably more of a bloody communist country than I've ever come across. It's like the rules and regulations and what the government's doing and all of that. And notice how when I'm talking about it, there starts to be this heaviness to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we've all got these stories. I mean, you know, you don't have Bolsonaro and you've got a new president now. And, you know, I don't think any country in the world has actually good people running them at the moment. There is no prime minister or president around the world that I'm like, 2 thumbs up, that's a good choice. None of them are. They've got this like place where they're fighting for what are they going to create, you know, in their term rather than being, you know, stewards of the land and this benevolent capitalism energy of for the greater good of all. They just don't seem to have that. So my where I'm at, Fabio, too, is what if that starts with us every single day? Like, what can you be every single day? When you walk out the door, it's like, who do you engage with? Like, how do you engage with them? You know, even a smile or asking someone if they need some help at the grocery store or anything like that. You know, it's like, you know, anything. I think we need to look at what do we want to create here on the planet? And are we living that every single day that matches that energy to actualize that? So, I mean, they announced we were in recession, I think 2 years ago, and it was hilarious. Like one day we're not in recession, the next day we're in recession, and everyone was like, oh my God. And it was like, what was different than yesterday than today, you know? And if you look at money in the world, there is actually not a lack of money. There's a lack of flow of money right now. People are holding on to their money like, you know, really tight, sort of fisted and not spending it. Well, I mean, in Australia, I know a lot of countries as well have this cash thing going on. I love the Australians. One thing that they did do was we took more cash out of bank accounts in the month of February than they've taken like in the past 25 years because everyone just kept going, no, you're not going to do this. Like we actually decided to use cash because, you know, I pay Fabio $50, he gets $50, and then he pays Graham $50, Graham gets $50. But at the moment, all they're instituting is that, oh, I pay you by credit card, then my bank gets a fee, your bank gets a fee, and then you pay Graham. And there's fees everywhere. It's like, where are we in that computation? And again, I want to reiterate, this is not about fighting. It's about choosing. It's about choosing what actually works for us. So in those times, it's like, what can you be? Like, what energy can you be so you don't have this reaction to something? And you get to choose some shift in all of this. Like what's one of the questions, you know, we use in Access Consciousness is what's right about this we're not getting. And if we don't be that victim of our story, it's like, what's right about this we're not getting? Like, what is beyond this? And I don't have an answer for what that is. But I think, Fabio, we get to discover that.
Nice.
Mm.
Yeah. It's been a constant exercise of being the question, and I like that. And thank you so much for the way you put things. It's so enlightening too.
Thank you, Fabio. Thank you so much.
What I really enjoyed is like you also just, Simone, you just have this really brilliant way of acknowledging the impact that you have in the world as well. You know, and I think that makes such a difference. I don't think a lot of people actually realize the impact they have in the world around them. And if you start to get that in those small moments, which
Yeah.
can become big moments, we
Yeah.
are capable of changing everything.
Yeah. You know, I was just running, you know, I think most of you guys know Dr. Dane here, and I ran his bars for like 4.5 hours before I came home to do this. And we're watching comedians, and there was this comedian making a joke about, you know, something that he did. He was like, I'm a hero, you know, and Dane's like, I mean, I've ran his bars 3 times this week. He really required his bars run. He's been so busy and doing stuff. And I literally walked in the house and I heard myself going, I'm a hero.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, just running Dane's bars for, you know, 4.5 hours. I'm a hero. Okay. And I was like, I'll own that. But what if we did do that? Like, that is the, like, you know, I'm a hero.
Mm.
What if we be our own hero? And we're not looking for somebody else to validate it. We just, because it made me smile. And I was like, yeah, I'm a hero. I mean, this comedian was making this joke about something that he did. And he basically saved a dog. But he was like, you know what? There's me. And then there's the troopers. And then there's the firemen. He's like, I'm a hero, you know. And he was like, some people don't laugh when I say I'm above the troopers. So maybe we do troopers and then me and then firemen, you know. And I was like, it's true. We don't elevate ourselves enough from what we truly be. You know, we try and get validation for the lies that we're telling ourselves rather than what am I capable of? You know, what I'm my own hero. Let's go.
You just dropped the bomb, by the way. That was big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't like a smelly bomb, like a bomb.
A bomb, yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Fabio. Anything else?
Thank you. No, that's it. I'm so glad to be here.
He is a hero. Look, he's hiding his suit under his scarf. Look at that.
Yeah.
There's some Superman stuff going on there.
True.
Thank you for being here, Fabio.
Thank you.
Wonderful. And next we have Aicha from Turkey.
Aicha, hello.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yay. So my question is especially about creating a business from the scratch when there is nothing about it. There is no any reference point. What kind of questions could we ask so that we can actualize it, like even for access, which was totally new modality, but what kind of questions has been asked and what was the path to follow to create something beyond this reality that was not here before?
So first thing is, usually when you have this idea, or you know, this spark, it's like you turn the light switch on in the room, right? That's what you call a generative energy. And that's energy that when you go, what about that? What about that? What about that? And there's certain people who I would call creators who are really good at that. They'll have that all day, you know, and they'll have this creative energy. So that's a generative energy. And then from that generative energy, it's like being in question of like, okay, so what would it take for this to actualize? Now, here's where I'm going to do a blatant advertisement, because it's a good question, and it's got a lot in it. It's like, because it could be like, what is the business? Like, where is the heading? Where are you? Like, there's so many different things. So I am really going to put out, you know, my advertisement of Joy Business book, which is in, I think, 18 languages, and it's in a lot of those languages is now in audio as well. And Sergey mentioned he just did the one in Russian, so it's even in Russian and lots of different languages. So I highly recommend that. But the second thing I'm going to recommend is, have you seen this manual? This is a business done different manual. It's like, I looked at it the other day and I was like, wow, are you kidding me? And do you know why it's like that? Because I'm so bad at taking things out of the manual. No, it's I am bad at that, but it's brilliant. And there are so many things in here because there's like things about, hiring staff, the energies that a business requires. As I said before, a creator, connector, and mover. And every business requires these different energies. And a lot of these tools are so designed to take you out of judgment, because the first thing I see people do is they go, oh, I've got this great idea. Okay, I'd like to do this. And you go home and you tell your partner or your family and they look at you like, oh, but you don't have any money, or you can't do that. Or, but when did you think that you were capable of that? Like anything. I'm sorry, but so many people have families that are not actually empowering. Like how many of you have a family that you walk in and they're like, you can be everything that you can be. Go for it. Like, choose it. So then every like comment, and it could be verbal or it could be energetic, we start to go, oh. And we diminish ourselves more and more and more. And we're continuously looking outside of us for the validation of that generative, beautiful, beautiful energy that you have in you be. So the tools in this book are so, access consciousness tools with business are so designed to give you the freedom to keep choosing and to open a door that you didn't know was possible and go, oh, okay, let's go through there. I mean, even a simple thing like hiring staff. Do you know how many people will not allow their business to expand because they have so many points of view about hiring staff? Like just that. And it's like, oh, they've got one staff member and they're like, oh, I couldn't afford anything more. That's your reason and justification. Anything that you say after a because is your reason and justification for not choosing something greater and choosing something different. That's why these classes are called business done different, not business done the same as everybody else. It's business done different. Embrace all of that. As I mentioned before, the podcast I'm listening to, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I think some guys out there have some brilliant ways to look at business. I was just listening to one the other day, and he was talking about manipulation, and he was talking about the fine line between manipulation and motivation. And I went, that's so true, because when you manipulate someone, you're also motivating them. And there's different ways to have a look at this. And so I listen to a lot of people, but what I essentially come down to and what I ask all of you to look at is, what are you aware of? Like, don't trust me, don't trust the books, don't trust any of us. It's like, trust you. You are the one that knows what's going to work for you. But there is a plethora of tools out there. And I find the access consciousness tools in business just are absolutely brilliant. And it's pretty much like everything that you always knew, but nobody's talking about it. So there are Joy of Business facilitators all over the world. It used to be like this, hidden group of facilitators that we'd be like almost embarrassed to be like, oh, JCF is what we call it. That's the link down below, accessconsciousness.com/JCF. But now there's like a lot of them all over the world. They all facilitate this business done different class. And it's phenomenal. I see so many people just like finally have that breath of fresh air and go, I got this. I got this. So I would really highly recommend reading the book or jumping into the Business Done Different class.
And I just get now, we need to change the link for the JCFs to heroes. Joy of Business Heroes. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Be your own hero.
Thank you so much, Simone. Thank you. That was amazing.
Beautiful and sunny there.
Yeah, it is very warm and beautiful right now.
Cool. Thank you.
I just want to jump in quickly as well, because you've touched on there's so many different areas that you have tools and Access has tools for. And you have the Business Done Different online class coming up in the end of July, and you also have a class called Big Business Energy, and I just wanted to give some light to that as well, because as you talking, every country has something different, but what if we didn't isolate it? What if you didn't isolate yourself and you just were able to really expand your awareness and have that big business energy? So that's also coming out. There's the link there.
And you can buy like the mouse pads.
Yeah.
That's my mouse pad. I love it. It's like big business energy.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, how many people run 1 million miles from big business energy when it's not about running 1 million miles? It's about literally putting a really big smile on your face and enjoying the hell out of what it is you choose.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Simone. Is there anything you would like to leave the world and let them know something going on?
I think we just did. I think we did a really good job of that. And so I'm super grateful for everybody on here. Graham, so grateful for you, doing this, and Kelly behind the scenes, and all of you guys who came on here from all over the world, and, translators and everybody. I'm super grateful for that. And for me, start to really have a look at, what you're grateful for, because gratitude is so freaking potent. When you have gratitude, it can expand everything. When you go to doubt or frustration or anger or anything like that, you literally, like, you stop the flow. You stop what can show up. But gratitude, even if you're just anything, it could be, I was cooking this soup last night, and I remember I was like, there was something, I can't remember what it was, and I was like, oh, I'm so grateful for you. I was in the kitchen on my own, but I was just like, I'm really grateful for this food. It was amazing, and yeah, it's like, start having random acts of gratitude and see what shows up.
Gary did a call many years ago called The Potency of Gratitude. So I'm pretty sure it's also in the Access shop. And yeah, it's really a powerful choice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome,
thank
everyone.
you. And thank you to the Joy Business Facilitators as well. Let's go.
And thank you, Simone. Cheers, everybody.
Bye,
See you again soon. Bye.